Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are absolutely unpacking the reality of U.S. immigration enforcement. We're talking specifically to those of you navigating tourist visas or maybe getting ready for that K-1 fiancé visa interview. We're skipping the basic surface-level stuff today and diving straight into the strict cause and effect mechanisms that actually dictate whether you get an approval or a total disaster. Like if you've ever wondered how the government really views that remote work you did on a previous visit, or how one tiny misstep in an interview room can just collapse your entire petition, well, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. So here is our roadmap for today's analysis. Number 1, the remote work myth. 2, defining unauthorized employment. 3, the misrepresentation trap. 4, the unforgivable offense. 5, high-stakes interview mechanics. And finally, number 6, strategic disclosure and mitigation. All right, section 1, the remote work myth. We've got to start with this massive assumption that trips up so many foreign visitors. It's one of those things that seems totally logical on the surface, but functionally, it's a massive trap. So here's the million-dollar question. Is remote work for a foreign company permitted on a tourist visa? I mean, in this era of digital nomads, it's incredibly common, right? You're visiting the US, you open your laptop, and you just keep working for your employer back home. The implicit assumption is usually, hey, the employer is foreign, the money goes into a foreign bank account, so US immigration laws don't apply to me, right? Well, actually, no. As expert reports clearly point out, that implicit assumption that a foreign paycheck somehow equals legal status is a really dangerous myth. The origin of your paycheck, it absolutely does not dictate your legal compliance. Simply put, U.S. immigration laws do not care where your employer is headquartered, period. Which brings us to how the rules actually operate. Section 2, defining unauthorized employment. Let's strip away all those assumptions and look at the actual strict legal trigger here. Here's the definition of unauthorized employment. It's any work performed while physically present on U.S. soil. That's it. That physical presence is the sole trigger. The geographic location of your employer is literally irrelevant. If your feet are physically on U.S. soil and you're performing labor, even if you're just logging into a foreign server to do some remote work, you are engaging in unauthorized employment in the eyes of U.S. immigration. In fact, an anonymous expert quote from the data firmly anchors this reality. They said, working while being physically present on the U.S. soil is also considered unauthorized employment. So think about this. When you're filling out applications like an adjustment of status, or when you're prepping for that K-1 fiancé visa interview, and the form asks if you have ever worked without authorization, the law requires you to report that remote work from your previous tourist visits. Failing to understand this exact definition leads directly into the most dangerous legal pitfall of the entire process. Which brings us to Section 3, the misrepresentation trap. So what actually happens when an applicant realizes, oh no, I broke the rules, and then tries to hide it? Okay, you have to see the stark contrast between these two very different legal realities. On one side, you have unauthorized work. Yes, it's a violation of status, but, and this is a huge but, expert analysis highlights that for immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, which includes a K-1 fiancé converting to marriage, unauthorized work is automatically forgiven. Let me repeat that because it's absolutely crucial. It is legally forgivable. But then, on the other side, we have misrepresentation. That's lying on your paperwork or lying to an officer to cover up that work. Misrepresentation triggers incredibly severe penalties. It creates a completely unforgivable consequence. The irony here is just profound. By panicking and trying to hide a forgivable error, applicants are literally manufacturing their own destruction. Covering up a forgivable offense with a lie instantly turns it into an unforgivable one. The cover-up itself is vastly more destructive than the original violation ever was. When it comes down to it, honesty is functionally and legally way safer than concealment. Section 4, the unforgivable offense. While we're on the topic of consequences, we really need to escalate this analysis and look at the absolute most severe violation highlighted in the expert data. So while simple unauthorized employment can be forgiven for immediate relatives, making a false claim to U.S. citizenship to secure that employment, that absolutely cannot. It is considered an unforgivable offense. There's practically no waiver available for it, and it triggers a permanent bar from admission to the United States. No way around it. And the government is highly efficient at catching this. They regularly conduct sweeps of I-9 employment eligibility forms. If you checked that box, claiming to be a U.S. citizen just to get a job, it's incredibly easy for them to track, and the legal door just slams shut permanently. Section 5, high-stakes interview mechanics. Let's shift our focus a bit to the actual procedural environment where all these facts, histories, and disclosures get rigorously pressure tested. I'm talking about the interview room. For marriage-based or fiancé cases that happen to raise red flags, applicants might face what's called a Stokes interview. Now, this is not just a casual chat over coffee. It is an intense, high-stakes fraud detection tactic. Spouses or partners are physically separated. You're put in different rooms and questioned individually about super granular details of your daily lives. Then, they compare your answers to expose any discrepancies. The whole environment is designed to pressure test the truth. And the cascading effects of the scrutiny are severe. Officers are gonna intensely focus on minor timeline discrepancies. You know, maybe a couple months of unaccounted living arrangements or conflicting dates. We see in the expert data that officers can apply direct psychological pressure. Sometimes they strongly suggest that an applicant just withdraw their petition right there on the spot, warning them of jail time or immediate enforcement actions if they suspect fraud. It's the kind of environment where a single unforced error can cause the entire petition to just completely collapse. I mean, check out this stark observation from the expert's analysis. It says, they're going to bring you into a room. They're going to scare the crap out of you. It's blunt, but it perfectly validates the gravity and the immense psychological intensity of this process. If you walk into that room harboring a lie about, say, unauthorized remote work on a past tourist visit, well, the intense pressure of this process is specifically designed to break that lie wide open. Section 6, strategic disclosure and mitigation. All right, so with all that pressure, how do you actually navigate these interviews safely? Well, if you realize you violated your status through unauthorized work, the expert consensus demands a very precise sequence of actions. Step 1, cease the unauthorized work immediately. Just stop. Step 2, disclose the work fully and honestly on all your applications. Absolutely do not omit it. And step 3, seek qualified legal representation before you ever set foot in that interview room. You really need an expert to analyze if the work is legally forgivable in your specific category before you move forward. Let's look at how this plays out in the interview itself. Say an officer asks if you've worked without authorization. A really poor response would be, yes, I have, and I'm still working without authorization. Why? Because that shows an ongoing defiance of the rules. The optimal response, assuming it's the absolute truth, of course, is yes, but as soon as I realized I was unauthorized, I stopped immediately. See the difference? That second response achieves two absolutely critical things. It's factually honest, keeping you far away from that misrepresentation trap, and it establishes a great rapport with the officer by proving you have an immediate desire to comply with U.S. law. So, to sum up the core takeaway of this entire analysis, strategic honesty and radical disclosure are your only viable strategies for success. The system is just too highly calibrated, and the penalties for deception are simply too severe to risk playing games. Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. When you're facing a system quite literally designed to expose the smallest discrepancy, you really have to ask yourself, will a single concealed detail compromise your entire future? In the high-stakes realm of immigration enforcement, the answer is almost always yes. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive in the Explainer. Stay curious, stay informed, and we will see you next time.